All right, how you guys doing? This is Dr. Jeff here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. I'm happy to talk to you guys today about your first plant medicine experience. So it's really exciting having all these people show up here every week. 90% of them have never done plant medicine before. So, for good reason, they're a little nervous. They don't know what to expect. They always ask me, like, is it similar to marijuana? Is it similar to psilocybin? Is it similar to LSD? And the answer is no, it's not. It's actually really different. It's very different in a lot of ways. It's a unique experience. It's very healing. Right now, we have about 75 people here at Rythmia up at the ceremony space doing plant medicine for their first time. So tonight's Monday, and that's our first night of the week where we have plant medicine. And, everybody was like, nervous and excited, and, they had a lot of questions about it. So what we did today before the session started up there about an hour and a half ago, what we did is, we had a lot of classes today. We had Jerry's class about your miracle. We had a plant integration course. We had a lot of support available for the guests to help them set intentions and kind of understand what's going to go down and what they can expect and ways to prepare, for their day. So everybody, I always like I go to the first part of the class, for like the first hour, and then I show up like a little bit later, and I see how everybody's doing when they get out of the class, and they have this nervous energy. They're really excited. And they always talk to me like, I don't know what to expect tonight. I'm a little worried. I'm a little nervous. I go, don't worry. We have a system here at Rythmia. We have a program, the Rythmia Way, that is really, really thought out. And it's a way that helps you ease into the plant medicine. If, some people, when they do plant medicine, before Rythmia existed, they go off into the jungle, and that's cool. That's super cool. But what happens in the jungle is that, first of all, you're way out in the middle of nowhere. And some people like that, I'm not judging it. Some people like that. It's cool. But they're kind of on their own. And there's not a lot of support there. There's definitely not a lot of preparation as far as like the facility. Basically, the preparation is you hiking up a mountain. And that can be cool. That can be actually really, really appropriate. But, what we're doing here at Rythmia is we're preparing you for plant medicine by giving you a ton of information so that you feel confident walking into a session. And we're giving you a certain amount of plant medicine that eases you into the process. And I find that to be like really, really important because, everybody is medically screened when they book their stay, and also when they come here and meet with me. We give a full medical exam. We triage you. We make sure everything's cool. We check your medical history. So we make sure that you're safe and appropriate to go up there. And this plant medicine is really, really safe. So we just want to facilitate an experience that helps people get their intentions met. It helps get what they're seeking in their life. 90% of our guests that come here have never done plant medicine before. It's their first time. And, when I wrote the license with the Ministry of Health of Costa Rica to do this, our goal at Rythmia was to have first-time people come here, people that would never consider doing this before. We wanted to have a facility that was licensed medically that could help people feel comfortable. So that's what we have. And there's a ton of staff. Like right now, we have about 18 staff members that are either in the ceremony or right around it. And the Dr. Arturo, who's our medical director, he's on call right now. He lives on the property. I'm on call. I'm here right now. I can see the ceremony space if I look over there. So I'm available every night. So as you guys can probably tell, I'm a little tired looking maybe, because I'm ready for anything that goes down. And guess what? Nothing ever does. It's actually really cool because it's super safe. And the guests feel that, they feel the safety. So that's really important to feel safe during your first plant medicine experience so you can do the work you need to do. If you're worried about, the other guests, you're worried about the shaman, you don't really know much about them, you're worried about your own physical health, you're worried about the environment. Let's say there's like, you're in the jungle, so there's like all kinds of wild stuff around. For me personally, I don't care about spiders and scorpions and snakes. I really don't care, but a lot of people do. A lot of people don't. They don't like that kind of stuff. So what's great about Rythmia is that this is a really safe place to do your first experience with plant medicine. So tonight, like I mentioned, is the first night of the week. And we have Greg Braden, the speaker. He's our guest speaker, and he is super cool. He's an amazing guy. He came with his wife, who's also super amazing, very, very cool people. And they're talking and giving you guys, information about stuff that corresponds with the plant medicine. So most of the weeks that we are open, we have these amazing guest speakers, and it's like really cool to get our own Rythmia program, but also with these outside people who are these thought leaders who explain like what's going on. So it's just it's an overall really cool vibe to help you feel grounded and settled in. A lot of people come by themselves, and they think that's weird when they get here. They're like, I just came by myself. I'm like, yeah, you and about 85% of everybody else. So it's okay to come by yourself. Don't worry about that. Costa Rica is a safe country. We're going to pick you up at the airport. We're going to drive you here. We're going to treat you like a king or a queen. We're going to just roll out the red carpet for you because we know this is a very life-changing week for you. We know what these results create. So we're here to provide a supportive environment to help you do the work you need to do. So, we have these 4 ceremonies, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They each have a certain purpose. The whole staff are plugged in to the protocol that we have for each night. Tonight, it's called a gentle introduction. So we ease you guys in a really cool way. There's various times throughout the night where you can drink more medicine if you need it. Everybody starts off with a pretty light dose, about 2 ounces. And about an hour later, there's an opportunity to drink more. And there's a couple more, 3 or 4 opportunities throughout the night to drink more. So that's what's really cool about that is it helps you transition in to the vibe of what you need to get for your own personal healing. Some places, in the jungle and stuff and other facilities, they just give you one huge dose. And you know what? There's, I'm not judging that. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But it's like, usually those places are 1 or 2 night retreats, and so they just got to hit you hard right off the bat. So there's a lot that you're gonna peak, and you're gonna be in the medicine deep really fast, and that's just a different approach. But our approach is we're gonna ease you in tonight, Monday night, first night. We're gonna ease you in, help you feel comfortable, help you start to understand what this medicine's about, and help you connect with it, because we really believe that it's important to have a relationship with the medicine. And the relationship with the medicine is really about having a relationship with yourself. And so that's our goal, is that you can feel plugged in and connected to you. And this medicine is one tool of many that exist in the world that allow that. So these 4 ceremonies are really important to get that work done. There's ways to prepare for this, right? If you guys book your stay, you're going to get some emails from us. You're going to learn about meds that you got to come off of. You're going to learn about something called the dieta, which is a way to eat that gets your body in tune for the ceremonies. It's usually just really healthy, clean eating, mostly vegan, some vegetarian sort of stuff, no caffeine, that kind of thing. When your body is in tune and connected, the medicine tends to work a lot better. So you're going to get a lot of information when you book with us about how to prepare for your stay. About 50%, a question that I get a lot is, am I going to throw up? I'm scared to throw up. I don't want to throw up, right? A lot of people say that. Probably about 50% of our guests will throw up while they're here during their week. And what does that mean? What does it mean to purge? Purging is actually a really important part of this process. What I've learned with working with all these shaman is that there is different ways to purge. One way is, of course, vomiting. The other way is sweating. My favorite way is yawning. I like to yawn during the ceremony. That's a purge. And then going to the bathroom is another purge. So there's different ways that you can kind of get out of you some toxins or some emotional blocks or things that are hindering you in your life. And so purging is actually really beneficial. It's really effective. And people that are afraid to throw up, nobody likes to throw up. It's not pleasant, whatever, right? That's kind of the history of like what we know in our life. No one wants to throw up. During the plant medicine ceremony, it's actually really therapeutic. It's very beneficial. And it's something that helps you get to the next level. It helps you kind of like cleanse yourself. So don't be afraid to throw up. It's usually not something that lasts all night. Just a little bit here and there, and then it's over. And so most of the time you're spent relaxing and getting insight and clarity for you. And the thing I love about the plant medicine, especially tonight on Monday night, is that because it's a gentle introduction, you get to when you're easing into the plant medicine, when you close your eyes, you can kind of like start to have sometimes people have vision, sometimes people have geometric patterns, which is neurochemistry rebalancing. Sometimes people just have clarity. And then they open their eyes and they're like aware of what's going on. They're back into the world of like without the plant medicine. So it's not as scary for people because they can kind of like go in and out of it depending on what they're experiencing when they close their eyes and when they meditate. So I really like that part about it because people are often really scared. Like, if I want to get out of this vibe, how do I do it? I'm worried because they have experience in the past with drugs or who knows what else. And usually with drugs, you're just like you're high, you're in that zone until it wears off, and you're not in control of it. So the beauty of this plant medicine is you can, to some degree, you can guide it. You can have intentions and have it go a certain way, which is really, really important, and it helps people feel confident in the process. It's funny because most people, I'd love this because people are always skeptical, like in the world, especially in the Western sort of medical model. They're like, well, this is like a strange process. Like, what is this? Like, how am I going to get clarity so quickly? How am I going to have all this awareness like in a week? I'm used to, listening to my medical doctor or my psychologist. I'm used to, there's meds that I'm supposed to take. There's groups I'm supposed to go to. There's therapy and all this kind of stuff. And, and this whole thing, like this indigenous medicine, this ancient way to heal yourself, I don't know a lot about that. So that can't be as viable, as what I've been told my whole life, which is, listen what the doctor says, listen what the psychologist says, listen what the commercials tell me about the meds, listen to what, the government says about my meds. I mean, it's crazy, right? So if you think about what healing is, right, you think about like what it means to be a complete person and grounded in yourself. I think we can all agree that society today in a modern world is looking to unplug you from yourself, because when you're unplugged from yourself, you can be manipulated. You can be coerced into consuming. And we all know that, the consumer vibe of the world is about spending money and ingesting food and substances and making people rich and just being like in that whole cycle, right? So in the Western sort of vibe of modern technology, right, the healing also takes on that vibe, which is, well, you have cancer, so we're going to put you on chemotherapy. We're going to have you see lots of doctors. We're going to run up the insurance bills. We're going to give you, 6 months to live or a year, and we're going to just like hope for the best. But we're going to get you and bill as much as we possibly can to the insurance companies for all these tests we're doing and all these meds we're giving you. And it becomes kind of like the standard, right, of what to do. Instead, what's going on in these indigenous cultures, you look across the world, you look historically, you look, currently, you look at these indigenous groups, there's not a lot of disease. There's a lot less disease. And then there's studies that will say, oh, yes, because they're not stressed out. They're not worried about making their rent. They're not worried about paying their bills. They're not worried about, they're not breathing in a lot of smog. Okay, sure. That's probably part of it. But the reality is they view illness very differently. They view disease in a very different way. What I love about our shaman is they explain to the guests that all disease, all illness, all addiction, all uneasiness, all discomfort, all depression, all anxiety, all those things are a result of being unplugged from yourself, having your body and your spiritual or emotional self detached. And that's where all these things start to occur. And the beauty of the indigenous remedies and these plant medicines that are ancient, they're since the world began, the beauty of them is that they plug you into yourself so that you can heal yourself. You can be grounded and connected to who you really are. Now, if I hate myself and I am not comfortable with who I am, and I come from a history of trauma, that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to do that at all because I'm scared. It means I'm going to be vulnerable again, potentially, and I want to avoid that. So what's really, really great about this plant medicine is it helps you resolve those fears, helps you understand that, no, if I am plugged into me, I am the authentic self, and I can achieve whatever it is that I want to achieve. I can obtain in life what I want to obtain. I can heal my own body. I can get clarity on my emotions. I can have relationships that are meaningful. All of that is possible when you're plugged into yourself. You know, if you're dissociated, you're unplugged from yourself, there's not a lot beneficial that's really going to go on. All you are going to do is be completely controlled by a system of consumerism and making you buy into a model that doesn't really fix you. It doesn't heal you. It just keeps you spinning like a hamster wheel in a system that is diseased. And if you don't believe me, look at the statistics. Look at the Western medical model statistics. The statistics that I love, and I always talk about on these Facebook Lives, are the addiction statistics. Addiction statistics are pathetic in the Western world. People that go to 12-step meetings only have about a 3 to 5% chance of being sober after a year. People that go to rehab after a 30-day inpatient stay have about a 12 to 15% chance of staying sober. Those are nationwide statistics in the United States. The reason is because the rehab model, the 12-step model, a lot of different medical strategies for addiction, whether it's meds or whatever it is, they're not about helping you plug into you. They're about keeping you unplugged so you can generate money, so you can be a patient for 10 years, 20 years. Do you really want to be a patient for 10, 20, 30 years? I don't think you do. I think you want to be free and independent and in control of your own destiny. So the beauty of this plant medicine is that it does that. It gets you plugged into yourself where you can heal yourself and you have clarity about what you want to do. If you're plugged into yourself, you don't want to do things that destroy your body and destroy your spirit and destroy your emotions. You want to do things that are connected and that help you feel grounded and happy. That's just the bottom line. So, you know, in the indigenous cultures, there isn't a lot of addiction. Okay, well, there's no bar on the Amazon River next to that palm tree by that crocodile. Okay, fine. There isn't the same temptations, right, of a modern society. Okay, sure. But mental illness is super interesting because in the West, you know, mental illness in the Western culture is a nightmare. We all know that if somebody in our family or one of our friends has a severe, quote unquote, mental illness, there is not a lot that can go on for that person. They can take meds. They're probably in and out of the psychiatric hospital. There's not a lot of hope for that person. They're just kind of like hanging on because these people don't fit into the society that we've established in the West. When you look at indigenous culture, you look at people that, quote unquote, let's say have schizophrenia. They're not viewed as outcasts. They're not viewed as dysfunctional. They're not viewed as crazy. They're viewed as people that have a unique connection to the spirit or to God or to nature or to whatever it is that the indigenous culture believes in. But these people with quote unquote schizophrenia, as we will label it in the West, they're connected to things that are not often seen. So it's the way that it's framed. And, those cultures, those indigenous groups have a very healthy way of looking at healthcare and looking at healing and looking at, people that are not, let's say, the norm of the group. Whereas in the Western culture, we look at people that have mental illness and we say like, oh, well, they're just, they're crazy, or, it sucks for that family. They have to deal with this person who's, can't work, and, they can't control them, and they're lashing out. So yeah, because that person does not fit into society. It's, the analogy I give is like, there used to be this huge diagnosis that was given in the 80s and the 90s for every kid. It was crazy, ADHD, right? Like every kid that doesn't behave has ADHD. It's just like, it was absurd. So they were all medicated. They're all like conformed to like sit in their chair and just like be zombies. Whereas the reality of kids that have ADHD is that they are actually, their IQ is really high. Just FYI, so you guys know, IQ of ADHD kids is like super high. Also for dyslexia, very high IQs. And so the system that these kids were in school, sit in your chair, don't talk, listen to this teacher who is boring as hell, and follow these ABC crap, right? That just did not match for them. They were just like over it in about 10 seconds. They want to be moving. They want to be doing. They want to be creating. They want to be like solving things. They want to move from station to station. And so there's a lot of really cool groundbreaking schools that came out like after the fact, as a response to all these over-diagnostic things for ADHD that said, we're going to have, for kids that have ADHD, we're going to have like 10 to 15 workstations in a classroom, no chairs, and they're going to move as they see fit from one thing to the next, and they're going to have a general kind of longer-term goal to finish, 6 of these 12 assignments within, the month. So they could bounce around and get it all done. And guess what? Way more effective than the other way, which is just sitting there and listening to this boring ass teacher who basically hates her job anyway, or his job. So it's all the way that we look at and frame these situations in the West. There's a culture clash. The United States, as well as other Western cultures, have worked very hard to prevent us from understanding that there's other things out there in the world that can heal us, that there's other things in the world that can stop us from being unhappy and upset and not seeking the next iPhone or the next Mercedes-Benz to buy so I feel happy for like 10 minutes, right? The West is very good at blocking us from the rest of the world to not understand that there's these other things out there that can really be beneficial. It's incredible. Like I lived abroad for several years. I lived in Santiago, Chile. I currently live in Costa Rica. I've been here almost 4 years. I've traveled a lot, mostly Latin America. It is astounding at how, for example, Latin American culture and other Latin American countries have so much more of an understanding of the world than often the Western United States and other parts of the West have. The West is very closed off. It's not closed off just geographically. It's closed off like in a mindful way. It's like, we don't need to go anywhere else to learn anything. We got it handled. It's like, really? You don't actually. You can benefit from all these things that are going on around the world and with these indigenous cultures and the traditional health beliefs. And it's a shame, actually. It is a shame that the West is so fearful of healing and so fearful of a change that can undermine big corporations and big pharma and government control. I mean, it's scary. It's just scary. So what I love about this plant medicine, and those of you that are on the fence, you're a little nervous, you're not sure, I guarantee you will benefit from this experience. You will love it because it's what your body, mind, and soul really want, which is connection, which is to be grounded in who you are as a person. And there's lots of ways to do that. We know there's tons of ways, There's, meditation. There's all these other holistic remedies and things you can do. And there's, of course, eating is important. Plant medicine is really fast. It's a really quick way to get plugged into you. That's why we're doing it here at Rythmia. That's why I left all of the Western medical stuff I was doing, psychology, psychiatry, medicine, rehabs, hospitals, psychiatric units, consulting, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of ridiculous nonsense. It was absurd. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see people actually change and actually figure out who they are. I meet with people probably 6 or 7 times a day. I have about 6 or 7 guests that are here that I meet with a day. I help them frame their experience and understand what it meant for them. They tell me a theme of things. And this theme that comes up a lot is, I've been told my whole life that something's wrong with me. I've thought my whole life that I'm a bad person. I've thought my whole life that I don't deserve to be happy. I've thought my whole life that there's nothing I can do. I'm kind of just screwed because I come from trauma, and I choose abusive relationships over and over again, right? And I just tell these people, I'm like, well, how do you feel after doing a couple of the nights here? Because it's usually in the middle of the week. They say, I have no words to describe the new self-awareness that I have. I will never go back to a victim mindset, and I will never go back to a place where I am being controlled by a medical model, a government model, or a community model, or even a family dynamic that keeps me oppressed and prevents me from realizing who I am as a person. How empowering is that? That is the most empowering statement. And I hear this every day, every single day from these people that are here as guests. Don't shortchange yourself. Get down here and check this out. You will not be disappointed. I look forward to meeting you. Pura vida from Costa Rica. I'll see you guys soon.